Amazon doesn't want to sell cars? What if they actually just want to control how every car gets sold?
The long term play here isn't just selling cars, it's predictive vehicle purchasing.
So I do see more people being attracted to maybe going to test drive the vehicle at the dealership and then just purchasing on Amazon, envisioning what this means for consumers, dealerships, manufacturers, and Amazon themselves. This is a power move. Welcome back to the Car Dealer AI Show, where we break down how AI is reshaping car dealerships today and in the future. In this episode, we're unpacking Amazon Autos, not just the marketplace, but the AI strategy behind it. How Amazon will likely use AI inside the car buying process, and why the real power play might be the data they now control. If you're a dealer, operator, or vendor, this one really matters. Charles, how do you think Amazon will actually use AI inside the car buying process beyond just listing inventory?
Here's what I think most dealers are underestimating Amazon isn't just building a listing site, they're building an AI buying engine. Think about it. Instead of customers manually comparing trims, financing, incentives, the AI will do it. It narrows options, it suggests the best payment structure, it predicts trade timing, it recommends protection packages. We move from search to decide, to AI, to narrow, to recommend, and then to close. And here's the real advantage Amazon already owns consumer payment behavior. They already track browsing patterns. They already understand buying psychology across categories. The long term play here isn't just selling cars, it's predictive vehicle purchasing. They'll know you're ready to trade before you do. And the AI engine only gets stronger because of one thing, right? Is data. So, John, tossing it back to you, the data play might actually be more powerful than the transaction itself. Why is that?
It's a lot. I really think that people from the surface level right now are just looking at Amazon Autos as a way to distribute more vehicles and for Amazon to get their piece of that. But I look at it as like such a more powerful play. One, our OEMs, where in the mix are dealerships, one. So now our OEMs actually selling direct, but they're not, saying that they're selling direct because they're going through Amazon Autos. And then I look at people that hold a lot of car shopping behavior, like an Auto Trader or Cox Automotive and Car Gurus and those types of companies. But what they don't have is they don't actually have the transaction all the way throughout. Sometimes Cox Automotive may have that with different types of vendors, but now Amazon's going to see all the things that every nerdy, automotive marketer has always wanted to see. Things like make model comparison paths of how actually people are navigating and which one they actually land on and decide. Price sensitivity thresholds, which they're already really, really great at. They already serve you suggested things that are in your cart, and they know like what type of buyer you're going to be. Thinking about that, then you think about the digital retailing side of things that is on dealerships' websites, but truthfully isn't owned by dealers. Dealers don't get the real analytics behind the digital retailing tools on their site, but Amazon will have that from A to Z now. And then you think
Yeah.
of trade, they're putting in which vehicles they want, they're looking at checkout abandonment. I really think that this is a power play for them to own just all of automotive. And I believe Carvana tried to do it. And people quickly are saying that because Carvana tried to do it and failed, Amazon's not going to be able to do it. But personally, I think that Amazon is going to, with Amazon focusing on new cars and pre-owned vehicles, but if Amazon really conquers this new car market, new cars are less unpredictable than pre-owned vehicles. So I think that they can actually going to be able to predict which new cars people would actually purchase at what price points, and then serve that vehicle up to them. So it really poses the question to everybody of what what type of position will they take? Where are dealers in this? Where are marketers in this? Where are tech providers in this ecosystem if this really becomes big and popular? And I think that data plus distribution plus AI is going to be the moat that's actually going to make this a really, really powerful tool.
From a, like, a profitability standpoint, what is, like, your opinion there? Is this will it get to a point where it's like a pricing war? Because I think most people will leverage Amazon not only for the convenience factor, but then how do you differentiate, like, if I have a vehicle that a dealer is advertising for this price, but then this dealership is trying to underprice that their competitor. Well, do you see, like, some sort of a pricing war type of structure that could end up happening organically?
Yeah, that's a really great point. I'd imagine so. I think that people are becoming more, or not just becoming, they have been more and more passive. They want to deal with less humans through the buying process. So I do see more people being attracted to maybe going to test drive the vehicle at the dealership and then just purchasing on Amazon, which then, to your point, that will create a pricing war, because right now the pricing war is really limited because of the fact that let's just say you're on one of the listing sites like an Auto Trader or Car Gurus. You're on there, and yeah, there's better prices out there, but they're not local. And will this actually have any sort of local play? Most likely it's just going to be full national distribution. And it does really pose the question of not only a pricing war to have the best price, but also, I already know that companies like, I believe Target actually has like dynamic pricing based on your consumer behavior. So they actually know if you're a price shopper or not. And then they will either give you a discount or not give you a discount. Now, how much is Amazon going to incorporate that type of thing to actually serve different prices to different people as well?
Yeah. And I can see that being very irritating. You get a bunch of customers test driving, but, like, once they pick up on this trend that I can just come in, test drive, then go back home, go back to my computer, go on Amazon, and then make the purchase. I can see that being a an annoyance for dealers if you just get a bunch of what they call tire kickers, all right? And then going back and purchasing elsewhere. So I'm curious to see where that's gonna go. And then people talk about I've seen discussions like, similar to like Carvana, where, people thought maybe Carvana would replace dealerships. Do you think Amazon has that capability long term to say, you know what? Like, we're gonna replace the physical dealership at some point because all of our shoppers are coming to our our marketplace to buy vehicles?
Personally, as a futurist, I've always wondered when dealerships will just be replaced, and not necessarily replaced from physical location standpoint, but from being a distribution of inventory to then being a product showroom. And I think we saw Tesla really do that, and how Tesla said, "Hey, we're not going to have dealerships," but then they realized they need service centers, they need product showrooms where people can actually test drive the vehicles. I think that it'll become a lot of that, and I think that people are comparing Amazon Autos to Carvana, but pre-owned vehicles are very volatile. You don't know if they're going to work, if they're going to be clicking when you're driving them, or what they're going to be like, or what the reliability is going to be like. But then you look at vehicles like that are a lot more dependable. I mean, I know personally, as somebody who purchases a lot of vehicles, I would buy any Mercedes, any BMW, right now I've been in love with the GMCs, especially the Denali lineup. You just know that that vehicle is going to be so great that really I don't need to test drive it. And
Yeah.
they are testing themselves in the Ford and Hyundais. And I think people that are familiar with those vehicles or just price shoppers are going to just purchase those vehicles, and they'll essentially be going OEM direct.
Yeah, my take on replacing the physical dealership, I don't think that's possible. Why? Because you're still gonna need to service your vehicle, right? So you're still gonna need a trusted dealership that you can bring your vehicle to, but then that raises the question and importance of, I think, where service is already at, and for certain dealers, and where the puck is going. And especially if you have consumers buying on Amazon from all over the place, brings up like, how am I going to capture market share from a service standpoint? And I think that's really where mobile service comes into play. If customers are used to, or let's say they adapt to buying vehicles off Amazon, how are you going to capture that market share? We talked about like, okay, tire kickers coming in, test driving, and then leaving the dealership and buying on Amazon. I think most people like the Amazon marketplace because it comes to them, right? So I think from a service perspective, being able to bring the service department to the dealership is going to be super important and is going to be able to keep you in contact with that customer, that tire kicker that wants you or wants the entire transaction and experience to come to them. What are your thoughts there in terms of like service and where that plays a part?
Yeah, I think service is the opportunity where they're gonna continue to engage with people. I think the test drive interaction is also gonna be the opportunity because if they
And
are purchasing on Amazon, that test drive is gonna be there. And then now conversations are gonna flip from the sales strategies that happen today to whenever we have a touch point, let's figure out how to monetize that touch point more. And if they are in for service, how are they how can we get them into a new vehicle or get them to not think about shopping online, but actually think about having that interaction? It turns Hopefully it'll turn a lot of dealerships into, for consumer sake, it'll turn them into less of like a super salesy thing and more into like customer service that you can't get from Amazon. And all these, I would imagine Amazon's going to be the first online marketplace that's really going to compete in there. I'd imagine they're going to have quick competition once they see, maybe it's Google Autos, maybe it's who knows which big tech hub is gonna be powering that.
yeah, I think Carvana is definitely paying close attention to this. I think to your point, I think Amazon Autos is coming in to really capture that space. But yeah, I think the entire dealership behavior and transaction is really going to be bringing whatever it is that you offer at the dealership, bringing it to the customer. And I'm wondering if, even to your point that you just made, if test drives will even make it to that point. And I'm wondering if there's a way that Amazon partners with the dealership that if they do bring a test drive to that customer, making sure that the price that the customer wants to have correlates with that vehicle they brought for the test drive. And then maybe they can go, and if they like the vehicle, they can actually go to Amazon Marketplace, type in the stock number or something that they just touched and felt and experienced, and be able to just purchase that vehicle that just showed up at their home. And then beyond that, the dealership has to think, okay, how do I continue to service that vehicle? Because that's really the most profitable department in my dealership. And I'm wondering if there's a way to kind of link all of that to where now not only you bring in the transaction, the test drive, and everything to the customer, but then you're also bringing the service drive to the customer. So I think it's going to be fun to watch. I think we're a little bit a ways away from perfecting the entire process, but I think just bringing convenience to people is really what people want. We see it from a DoorDash or Uber and now Amazon Autos and mobile service. I think people want that more. And let's face it, I mean, when you use those applications, you are actually paying more than if I were to just get in the car, drive to, whatever restaurant I'm ordering food from. So maybe there is a way that dealerships can capitalize on gross profits because of the convenience factor. So it's going to be interesting to watch.
Yeah, I'm actually really interested. You talk about like how are they going to monetize it? If it does end up being like this dealer out of the loop type of system, or Amazon really is the dealer in this scenario. So it's never
Yeah.
dealer out of the loop, but it's not OEM direct. But thinking about Amazon being a tech company, also thinking about the type of AI technology that they have, I know that they're already putting what they're calling Alexa Plus into vehicles. And so now that will actually power your vehicle driving experience. I don't actually know where they are in the race of self-driving, but I'd imagine they already have something, if not coming soon. Now, quick, just crazy idea is, do they make no profit on the vehicle and just focus on the after purchase experience? Like, what does this do vehicles turn into a subscription service? Do they turn into something where, hey, we've actually decreased the vehicle by taking the dealer out of the loop and just getting OEM direct pricing, handing that directly to the consumer, maybe making a little margin on that. But to the topic earlier is, there's going to be so much price competition that you're going to have to price at the lowest price anyway. So they're going to have to be able to control that market to make sure it's not the Carvana experience of like good, better, best, or bad to good pricing essentially. And if they do control that pricing and really have a handle on that, then do they have some sort of subscription service of self-driving, in-car AI, data management? I can think of so many things that you could sell after that, or proactive service appointments, mobile service like you're talking about. And can
Yeah.
Amazon fulfill that consumer journey from purchase to repurchase essentially?
Yeah, it's very fascinating thoughts there. Yeah, I'm just fascinated to see where it's gonna go. I think it's gonna take some time to really perfect the process. And yeah, well, I guess we'll just see where it lands, but all fascinating stuff that's happening right now.
I'm really excited to see what the viewers think about this. Comment
Yeah.
below, start a discussion. I think that there's a lot of different takes on this. We're still super early on, but envisioning what this means for consumers, dealerships, manufacturers, and Amazon themselves, this is a power move.
I think that component is that pricing structure by dealerships and how they're gonna make profit. Like, from my understanding, Amazon just charges like a fee to dealers, like a flat fee, and it's more of like an advertising control, an advertising play to be able to be one of those, or be in the marketing budget, right, for that specific month. But it's gonna be really interesting to see how dealerships are gonna capitalize on profitability. Not that new cars have that much profit to begin with, but from a used car perspective and so on is gonna be interesting.
Yeah. Well, if you like topics like this, like, subscribe, hit the bell notification. Next episode, we're going to keep on diving into how AI is impacting dealerships today. We'll talk to you later.